Hi, and welcome to Kismet. Thank you so much for being here. Wow, this has been a really dynamic month. It is September the 27th as I'm recording this. And I know for so many of us, there's been a lot of focus on the external and outer world, what's happening in politics, news. While all of that is very real, what I want to submit to you is that when we get wrapped up in all of the external experiences, tragedies, events, we struggle to focus on what's happening inwardly. And this is really a huge part of what my work and my offerings are all about, teaching us how to take the focus away from the outer world and how to bring our focus inward. We have no capacity to change or alter how other people are living their lives and the choices that they're making. And if you think that you have control over another person, then you are in a huge illusion. And this is what awakening out of the illusion is about, is just realizing that we don't have the capacity to control other people's lives. And when we think that we do, we're actually giving our power away. And we're living in an energy called projection, which means we're losing power because we're projecting our power outward. So we're trying to send our power to control other people instead of using our power for ourselves. So my work, my somatic release and neuro reprogramming is about using our energy and putting our energy into thinking about ourselves and our own life struggles rather than trying to fix that which is in the world. That we are here to actually resolve and to solve the conflicts that are within us. And if we cannot resolve what's in us, if we can't resolve the struggles or discrepancies that we have with friends or family, if we can't solve the small parts of our life, our little world, then we really have no capacity to understand how to solve anything in the bigger world. And so there's an invitation here for us to really let go of that idealistic energy that tells us we're here to fix and solve what's happening in the outer world. The outer world is a reflection of the collective's inner world. So if we actually want to do anything to change the outer world, then it's time for us to tune out of what's happening with other people and tune into what is happening within us. And this is actually exactly what the Libra and Aries archetypes are all about. And Aries and Libra remind us that we are here on our own individual path. And we're being invited to become very present in our own lives. And with both Neptune and Aries transiting into Neptune and Saturn transiting into Aries, we are on a major cusp of an evolution for us to become present in our own lives. Now, because we have Neptune involved here, many people are not going to do that, and they are going to fall under that illusion energy, which is what I was saying of the projection, thinking that we need to fix and we know what to do to fix other people's lives when we don't even know how to resolve things in our own life. And this is the shadow energy of both Aries and Libra. It's projection. Projection happens when we think we see a problem and we can fix it in something in someone else. Projection sees what's wrong with other people, but cannot see what is askew within the self. So if you're disturbed by what anyone else is doing in the world, then you're in projection. And this isn't a judgment. This is what we do. When we're disturbed, when we're upset, when we're triggered by someone else, that is us projecting our feelings about ourself onto them. So we end up doing the very thing we're judging other people for. The world that we live in and our little world that we live in is a reflection of us. What we see in the world is what is inside of us. So if we see anger and hate, then we are also seeing that inside of us. If we reject anger and hate, we are rejecting that within us. And this is one of the most difficult lessons for human beings to learn. This is incredibly challenging. We swear that we are so good and we just want to see ourselves as good and others as bad. And this is the huge struggle with being a human is thinking that there's an enemy out there. And Aries and Libra teach us that the enemy is not out there, it is within us. And there is no good versus bad. It's not us versus them. We are what we see in everyone else. And so if you see something you dislike in another person in the world around you, if you feel repulsion, that is you rejecting that quality within you. And this is shadow. This isn't easy to see. And this is so, so important for us to find freedom, to understand shadow is where all freedom lies. And the reality is we have all qualities that exist within you. You have the capacity for everything. It may not be at the same level of what you see in the world, but it's still there at some level. And again, I understand this is very hard for us as humans to gather, to sit with. We constantly want to look outward and point the finger outward. And the hardest thing for us to do is Aries energy, Aries archetypes, which is to look within, to understand that which is in within us. And the truth is the only way to get understanding and to get wisdom is to look within and to release judgment of self and other. And this Aries full moon is an incredible invitation to heal this very deep wound of the self and the judgment of self. If we knew at a neurological, spiritual, physical, and intellectual level that we were accepted, that we belong, and that we are safe, then we would not be living in projection. We would be completely free to be authentic, imperfect, and to just evolve and change. And this is what we typically see in children. Most children are able to embody this Aries energy, this which is a childlike innocence, a capacity to just be what they are, not really aware of um, what other people might be thinking about what they are. You know, when a child throws food on the floor, they're not thinking, oh man, I'm gonna really piss my parents off right now. They're just like, oh, I wonder what happens if I fling this over here. We're talking about, 9, 10, a year old child has no concept of it's not good to throw food on the floor or this is going to upset someone, right? So again, returning to this sense of freedom, this ability to release judgment and being imperfect and being okay that we are imperfect and knowing that we are accepted and that we belong and that we are safe. Now, we didn't all get that when we were children. Some of us, when we were children, were yelled at a very young age for being imperfect. And so it takes diligence to reprogram our neural pathways, to teach ourselves that we're safe. And this is what my work in somatic release and neuro reprogramming is about. It's about guiding us to remember, to know that at the most fundamental level, we are safe and we do belong. And as I said, it's no simple task because our psyche is a tangled web of feelings and emotions and stories and judgments, and all of that is wanting to be untangled. If you've ever read Women Who Run with the Wolves, Clarissa Pinkola Estes talks about this in the Skeleton Woman story. And this, needing to reclaim the psyche, to rewire the psyche, to put pieces back together. But one thing I don't think she talks about that is very key here is that we had a part in the unraveling. We had a part in the tangling. We tangled ourselves up with stories and ideas, and we created the tangles. So we're invited to detangle them. And it's through that that we can put ourselves back in a new order, not in not to return to something that we were as children, because we did not come in this perfect form. We came in with all our stories and all our archetypes, and that's what astrology shows us. You came in with these blueprints. You came in with these stories. Okay, so this full moon on October the 6th is perfecting at 8:47 p.m. in Arizona time. And it's at 14 degrees and 8 minutes. And this is part of a new moon cycle that began April 8th of 2024. And at that new moon, it was an eclipse, and the sun and the moon were exactly conjunct Chiron. And the North Node was a couple degrees away from the sun and the moon in Chiron. And so this was a very important new moon. This began a cycle and an opportunity for us to do a deep dive healing on the wound of the self. So if you have planets or points around 12 to about 22 degrees of Aries, this is going to be a very significant cycle for you. And it has been a very significant cycle for you. And it's very related to Aries, this sense of self, of safety and significance in the world. Aries relates to our personal importance, this knowing that we belong in this earth and in this universe. And so Chiron being conjunct this new moon in Aries really started this, this opportunity for us to look deep at, do we believe in our worthiness? Now, we had a turning point in this cycle, which happened on January the 6th of 2025. So you might look back to see what was happening on or around January 6th, a day before, a day after. This is when we had the first quarter moon, which is part of this lunar cycle. And now we're at the full moon culmination point on October the 6th. And this is a very deep awareness of revelation that's ready to come through. If you have been looking and digging and seeking and working on healing this wound for yourself, then this could be a beautiful time of expansion and revelation. This could be this point of, wow, I have grown so much in this area, and a test or trigger comes through and it just glides right past you. It's not a projection anymore. And if you haven't quite yet been able to work through this shadow, that's okay. We go through these cycles as a way of awakening. And so this full moon could be a trigger for you. This full moon might be bringing up a shadow energy. It might be highlighting your projections. It might be that you feel really angry and frustrated and irritated and defensive. These are all the shadow qualities of Aries energy. Now, most of the time, we don't want to look at these things. But this is what astrology, this is what my work is about, is can we look within? Can we see the wound that's here that wants to be healed? And you know what? It's not always time. The truth is, it is not always time for us to understand what's happening within us. And this is so important because you might be thinking, oh, well, this is the time I need to heal this. Well, it might be the time for you to heal this wound. It might not be the time for someone else. And so sometimes the revelation moment is a huge crisis or it's a struggle. And that is because we are breaking down some way of being in the world. And the only way for us to go through a process of transformation is dissolution or is struggle, right? The caterpillar turns into the butterfly by completely dissolving itself, which I imagine is not like a simple process. So sometimes these moon cycles are really beautiful expansion points, and sometimes they're constriction points. And it's not good or bad or right or wrong. Rather, it's just a time for us to be more aware. Okay, so the new moon, as I said, the new moon that happened on April the 8th, 2024 was at 19 degrees. This, um, the North Node at that time was at 15 degrees of Aries. And right now we're going to have this full moon at 14 degrees of Aries. So 14, 15, very, very powerful points in the sky. But really anything from 12 to 22 degrees of Aries or the cardinal signs are going to be feeling this most intensely. So Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. All right, so Aries is one of my favorite energies. Aries is a very dynamic, initiating energy. It's the alpha, it's the beginning point. It's masculine. It's about surviving and thriving and this urge to live and to experience life and to thrive. And Aries is about really fully being and existing. It's a primal energy. This is about creating, inspiring. This is the infant energy that is willing to just say what they want, go after what they want in life. And Aries is an archetypal energy that supports us to get our needs met. This is what infants do. This is all they know how to do, is they know how to get their needs met. And they do this through making sound, often very difficult sound. But this is what they live for. I need to get my needs met. I need to eat. I need to be clean. I need to be held. This is what my needs are, and I'm here to meet them. And we know that this is not wrong for a little child. We expect children to cry because this is how we know that they need something. What happens is that at some point we are told to stop crying, and we end up pushing all of that energy down. All that energy that we were saying, oh, I have a need, that gets suppressed. And then we stop knowing how to meet our needs. And this is when Aries turns into the warrior. So we can't cry because we're going to get in trouble. And we don't know what else to do to get our needs met. So we end up becoming fighters. And this is where that shadow energy of the warrior comes from. So many people are talking about warrior archetypes as though there's something to be esteemed. And I will tell you that the warrior archetype does have a place in the world. But if you are to understand the energetics of the warrior archetype, you have to understand that it is based on survival, scarcity, and lack. Warriors need a battle. So if you're embodying the warrior energy, you are calling a battle into your life. So that might be something you want to be looking at under this full moon is like, are you trying to fight for something? Are you in a battle? Because the more that you are in that battle, the more you are calling the battle to come to you. And this is a fear-based energy. We only have to battle if we're in scarcity and there isn't enough. We only have to battle and be a warrior if we have an enemy. And if we're in constant resistance to the world. So if you want to grow out of the shadow of Aries energy and even Libra energy, you want to let go of this warrior archetype. And this is so, so key to understand because the warrior, um, because what we resist in the world persists. So if we are in resistance to what's happening in the world, and we feel we have to fight it and we have to be a warrior, we're causing that to persist. So you're welcome to stay in the warrior energy all day if you would like to. But remember that when you do this, you're putting on fight energy and you're remaining in fight energy. And you're telling yourself, you're telling the universe, you're telling energetically, you're becoming a magnet for battles. What you resist will persist until you stop resisting it. So if you're pushing against something in life, it's pushing back against you. So the question I have for you is, do you want to free yourself from the shadow of this warrior energy? And I know most of the world is living out of this warrior energy. The warrior energy needs to fight to prove itself. And this is literally what happens when we're about 2 years old, when we start being told, you cannot cry. Then we have to fight because we can't grieve and we have feelings and emotions. And there's a lot here that I don't have time to break down on a public platform. But there's a deep shadow energy here. And to me, the invitation is, do you want to be free? And if you want to be free, then you'll want to step out of that warrior fear-based energy and into the sovereign being energy of Aries. A sovereign being is one who is able to meet their own needs. A sovereign being is an archetype that is able to freely interact with the world. You can play, you can trust your instincts, you know that you're worthy, you're able to be courageous, you're able to face things that are scary. A sovereign being knows their worthiness and knows the worthiness of everyone else. And a sovereign being is the most amazing person to be around because they are not threatened, because they're not in a warrior energy. They don't have to fight anybody. And so they're safe to be around. Very, very few people are able to embody this sovereign energy. It's a high bar, it's a high calling, and I can assure you we don't arrive here easily. It takes cultivation and years of cultivation, a state of being that is not in resistance to the world. Now, I'm an Aries sun in the 11th house and a Libra moon in the 5th house. I grew up and felt a huge fear of scarcity, not enough. I always, when I was young, felt I needed to prove myself. But through years of intentional somatic release and neuro reprogramming, I have transformed these fears and I have stepped out of that warrior archetype. And I can tell you, it is so amazing. I do not have to fight to survive. Instead, I get to connect with the joy of Aries, the inspiration of Aries, the life force energy of Aries. So you can stay in the fight energy if you want to, but the invitation under this full moon, under this moon cycle, is for our souls to evolve and to release that outward fight, to look inward, to discover our fears, our shadows, and to dissolve them. And as I mentioned, with Neptune moving into Aries and Saturn moving into Aries, this is going to be an incredible opportunity to dissolve that warrior energy. However, because astrology works on polarity and duality, that is not going to be the case for everyone, and many people are going to step even further into that fear-based energy. But we cannot control what other people are doing, only what we are here to do. So Aries archetypal energies teach us about sovereignty. And through sovereignty, we learn to be courageous. And courage has to do with being vulnerable. It has to do with being confident and trusting that we can become competent for ourselves. So through Aries energy, we learn that we don't need anyone else to complete us. And this actually strongly relates to Libra energy, and many people misinterpret Libra energy to think that this is all about us being so tuned into other people. Actually, Libra's strength is being able to be fully oneself without conforming, without giving up some part of you to be in agreement with other people. So this archetypal axis is an invitation to complete yourself, to find this state of being that is at peace, that is free, that is able to trust yourself. Aries is about trailblazing. It is not following energy. And Libra and Aries are cardinal energies. They are not following energies. Both of these are about trusting your own intuition. Aries invites us into the fun, silly, adventurous, and playful parts of life. And the only way that we can actually let ourselves be in that energy is that we're fully present and we're not afraid of judgment. This goes back to that when we're in judgment, we're in projection. Aries is an energy that is about quick decisions, quick movement. It is intuitive and primal. It is about knowing the next right step and trusting it. With Aries, we can learn to believe in ourselves, and there's a beautiful optimism that comes with Aries. This trusting that we have enough, that we can forgive, that we can move on, that we can trust that there's more than enough in life. As I mentioned, Aries has a lot of shadow energies. One, as we've talked about, this warrior, this need to fight, this feeling of needing to compete, to fight. This is the victim energy. This is a very fear, scarcity energy. The shadow is inundated with the victim, um, or the hero. Aries can be sort of obsessed with being the hero in someone else's life. I need to be the one that everyone sees that I can do it all and that I'm the best. So Aries can be this controlling, impatient. Um, we have to hurry up and get things done. There's not enough time. And this causes a lack of empathy and compassion because we're all in scarcity in the shadow. Aries is the ultimate narcissistic energy, and it comes from that um, never enough. The competitive fear that we will be left out. And I'm not talking about fun competition because there is a playful Aries energy that is about being able to have fun and compete in a way that is free. that's just about enjoying the experience. The shadow of this is this ruthless energy to win, is feeling hurt or upset if you don't win. It's um, feeling like you're not good enough. So you have to prove yourself by winning everything. Okay, so the astrology around this full moon is very intense. And Aries, if I haven't said that already, Aries is an intense energy. It is fire, it's cardinal, it's about pushing things forwards, it's yang, it's masculine. It can be abrupt. It is unafraid to, push things forward. And some of the other signs of the zodiac can be a little turned off by that. Maybe we're turned off by that. And that would be because we're putting that in our shadow, saying, this would be us putting it in our shadow and saying, it's not good to get your needs met. And this is a huge archetypal struggle with the Aries energy. Don't be selfish. When actually, if you were to take care of yourself, you would be being selfish, but it would be to meet your own needs. And therefore, you wouldn't be in the narcissistic, harmful energy. You would be creating more peace in your life because you'd actually be meeting your needs and instead of expecting other people to meet them. So, as we move towards this full moon, this intense energy, there is great opportunity for breaking ground and breaking through something. Now, on October 1st, as we move towards this moon, Mercury is going to make a square to Jupiter. And then on the day of the full moon, Mercury is square Pluto. So, there's something about our mindset that is being challenged, that is being confronted. Um, and this could relate to fear over finances, resources. Um, this could be the feeling that my way is right and their way is wrong. So if you're getting stuck in any of those energies, this is a great place to do some releasing. I'm ready to release this right and wrong energy. I'm ready to release this fight. For other people, this is going to be an incredibly profound breakthrough moment. This is something you've been working on, and the tension is going to get released. You're going to pass a test. There's going to be a door opening. It's an opportunity. And with Jupiter and Venus in a sextile, there's a great opportunity for resources to come in. And this actually might be very supportive for some people to help release. If resources are there, you might feel safer to release. But let me also say that we have Venus conjunct the South Node. And so there is something important here that a person may be getting released, or there may be friends, past lovers, past struggles that are coming up. And this could even be addictive habits or energies that need to be looked at during this full moon. So this is a great time for doing any kind of trauma healing. And Juno's a really important part of this configuration with Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. And I've said this in previous podcasts, but Juno plays a part in every full and new moon through the end of the year, and I believe even into 2026. So there's something very important happening around commitments. For some people, this is going to be relationship commitments. And for other people, this is going to be partnerships or agreements you make or negotiations that you're in. This feels very expansive. And oh yes, your Uranus is in an opposition to Juno, so there's something very shocking, surprising, unexpected. There's a quickness to this energy. It's about, maybe taking a risk, and this could be any time in the 9 months after this full moon. This could be some kind of dream that's getting fulfilled, and this could be you are really taking steps towards healing that wound of the self. We are dealing with Libra energy, so you may be really working on your relationship with others and your ability to show up and be your most authentic self. Okay, so what I would encourage you to examine under this moon, um, it is just that. Am I able to be my most authentic self when I'm with people, or am I wearing a mask to fit in? You might want to ask, am I okay when I don't fit in? Aries relates to our identity. This is who we know ourselves to be. And so under this full moon, I would, beckon you to ask, who are you? And we have a tendency to identify ourselves in relationship to others. I'm a spouse, I'm a partner, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, mother, child, pet, whatever, coworker, boss, a teacher. Maybe you identify as a guide or whatever your career is. But I want to ask you to look deeper and think about who you are without anyone else. Because this is the truth of Aries Libra axis. Who are you? Who are you without relationship? Because if you don't know who you are without relationship, you do not know who you are. So, who am I all on my own? And you may also want to ask, what do I love? What do I love that has nothing to do with anyone else? Who am I if I never got a reward from anyone? If no one ever saw what I was doing? Could I trust that being me alone is enough? This is what Aries Libra axis is about. And do not get it twisted. Libra is not about being this overly relational person. It is about being authentic in a relationship. It is about allowing other people to be themselves in the relationship. And when we identify ourselves through relationship to anyone, we are diminishing that person because we are not able to see them as they are, because they are not just our mother, they are not just our child, they are a whole being that has a purpose beyond us. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Um, I hope any or all of this is supportive for you. If you're interested in connecting with your astrology or how this chart is working in your life, or you want to work